Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Tuseno Supervintage Negroni. This watch is available from Tuseno.com on pre-order for $999 which is €1,099 respectively. Tuseno are a well-established microbrand. They were founded in 2015 in Gothenburg, Sweden. So firstly, let's look at the watch roll that the watch comes in, and then I'll talk you through the specifications of the piece. So the watch comes in a cork watch roll, which is housed inside this outer black cardboard box. On the lid we have the Guiding Lights brand emblem, Tuseno logo and Gothenburg. So I'll remove the lid and I'll take out the watch roll and show it to you. So the watch roll is made from cork, which is unusual, and Tuseno deserve credit for not using the less expensive default option of a vinyl or PU leather material for the watch roll. On the flap we have the Guiding Light emblem, Tuseno logo and Gothenburg in silver. Two stainless steel poppers secure the flap, and the interior is fully upholstered with contrasting white velour fabric to good standard. Flawless stitching around the perimeter in white stitches which matches the white velour fabric, and on the top side the cork is finished with matching tan tone stitching, and again no loose stitches around the perimeter. Cork is perfectly smooth, very well finished, very well executed. Two stainless steel poppers are secure, and inside we have a padded pillow cushion which is secured by stainless steel poppers on the left and the right hand flanks. Very well upholstered in contrasting white velour fabric, very good quality, and the correct proportions for a 6 to 8 inch strap size, which is good. So snaps together with nice positive clicks, good quality watch roll, and I'm pleased to see cork used, which makes a refreshing change from vinyl or PU. So excellent presentation for a mid-tier piece at €1,099 respectively. With regards to items that come with the piece, it also came with this resealable plastic bag, which is branded with the Guiding Light emblem, Tuseno Gothenburg, and of course this houses the alternative straps. So to clarify, this piece, the Supervintage Negroni, is available on two leather straps. You can have a standard leather strap or long leather strap. The standard leather strap will fit from a 6 to 7 inch wrist. The long leather strap, which I fitted to the head of the piece, will fit from a 7 to 9 inch wrist size respectively. So I'll show you the strap in detail. This is the standard leather strap, and as you can see it's made from calf leather, matte black, matching stitching around the perimeter. What I like about it is it has curved ends and also curved spring bars versus straight spring bars, and also it's quick release stainless steel spring bars. That negates the need for a spring bar tool. Underside of the buckle and tang side is embossed with a Tuseno logo in the vintage font, matching the dial Supervintage logo. Two keepers which are correctly proportioned. First keeper is fixed, second keeper slides as one would expect, and there's stitching either side of the first keeper which secures it into position. Solid 316L grade stainless steel buckle and tang. Flawless mirror polishing to the top side, underside and flanks. Nice heavy gauge to it. No sharp edge to the undercuts, and it's been deburred and chamfered very well. The only thing I would like to change about it is I'd like to see the buckle signed with either the Guiding Lights brand emblem or alternatively Tuseno text logo, because that would give it a high-end feel. But quality of the finishing is good, gauge is good, mirror polishing is stellar. This strap is incredibly soft and supple. So I've reviewed a plethora of watch straps on my channel in the last 5 years. Some of the very best watch straps in the watchmaking industry. For example, Hirsch calf leather straps made in Austria, and Halloween shell cordovan straps which are tanned in Chicago. And I can tell you, this calf leather strap is more soft and more supple than the very best of Hirsch calf leather straps and the very best of Halloween shell cordovan straps respectively. It's just incredibly soft and incredibly supple. It feels more supple than calf leather, and it really does feel like top grain leather because this does not require any breaking in whatsoever. Even at the spring bar end, where it's stiffer, it feels very soft and supple. It feels like a strap which is broken in with daily wear, and it's just incredibly comfortable as a result. One of the most soft, comfortable straps I've ever experienced, and I've reviewed a plethora of leather straps. Underside is perfectly smooth, so both the top side and the underside have a matte grain finish to the leather, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. They made the correct decision by using a matte black finish to it versus glossy, because although it is a dress piece, it does add to the versatility of it because it could potentially be worn as a daily wear piece due to the matte finish versus glossy. So standard length, to remind you, has enough holes to fit from a 6 to 7 inch wrist. The long length has enough holes in it to fit from a 7 to 9 inch wrist, and I'll overlap the straps so to clarify the difference in the length. So just bear with me, I'll match them up. So as you can see, on this side there's a subtle difference between the standard 6 to 7 inch length strap and the long 7 to 9 inch. But on the buckle and tang side, it's more apparent there is a big difference in the length. So just bear with me, I'll overlap them. So if you look at the two buckle and tangs, you can now see there's a big difference between the standard 6 to 7 inch length and the long 7 to 9 inch. I fitted the long strap to the head of the piece because you'll know from my previous reviews I have a large 8-inch wrist, and I can confirm it easily fits my 8-inch wrist with length on the strap spare. So yes, I can confirm it will fit up to a maximum 9-inch wrist size. Good to see the two options. So when you pre-order the piece from Tuseno.com, you can select the strap length, and they've included the spare strap in this resealable bag, so you can of course purchase both of the straps if you require a standard and a long strap. One also gets this Tuseno branded microfiber polishing cloth. I always think it's a nice touch to get a branded microfiber polishing cloth irrespective of the price point of a piece. So there are two items which are notably absent: owner's instruction manual and also warranty card. Now, I'm pleased to report the watch is covered by a 2-year international warranty, which is mandatory and the industry standard for mid-tier pieces. Mid-tier is €500 to €5,000, so that's good. However, I'm going to be magnanimous rather than being critical about the absence of a warranty card and owner's instruction manual, because this is a pre-order, pre-production sample, and I'm absolutely confident when it goes into production and they begin to supply the pieces in the first quarter of 2026, they will of course include an owner's instruction manual and a warranty card detailing the terms and conditions of the 2-year international warranty. But I have confirmed it will come with a 2-year warranty, which is excellent. So, with regards to the specifications of the piece, we have a 34.5mm case diameter. We have a lug-to-lug measurement of 33.6mm. Now, lug-to-lug is compact at 33.6, but you can see it's a tonneau case with undercuts for the spring bars. So, the case length is a more relevant dimension because it has an oval tonneau case. This is 40.5mm case length. So, although the lug-to-lug is only 33.6, it actually is more like a 40.5 lug-to-lug due to the oval case shape. So 40.5 length, 33.6 diameter. We have a thickness of 8.7mm and a lug width of 18mm. The genuine calf leather strap tapers from 18mm at the lugs down to the buckle and tang. And as I've detailed, the buckle and tang is sterile but very aesthetically pleasing. I just prefer to see the guiding light emblem, alternatively the Tuseno logo engraved or embossed on it to give it a high-end feel. We have a curved tonneau crystal. So to clarify, the tonneau crystal is curved on the underside, curved on the top side, and it has clear AR coating on the underside. The clear anti-reflective coating does an outstanding job of reducing the glare and the highly reflective nature of the tonneau curved crystal. The dial is textured. So to clarify, the centre section, which is a darker orange, has an orange skin textured finish to it, and it's very aesthetically pleasing. When you tilt the piece at an oblique angle, you can see the textured finish, which is just like an orange skin. And then we have a contrasting lighter orange subdial with a capped subdial second hand. What I like about the hands is they are mirror polished to perfection. They're also capped. So to clarify what I mean by capped is if you look at the diamond cut leaf hands, they're faceted. But this is a two-hand piece with regards to the cannon pinion because we have a subdial second hand. So usually an hour and minute hand would have holes in the centre and then they're pressed onto the cannon pinion. So one would see a hole or dimple in the centre of the cannon pinion or alternatively the centre of the hands. But the minute hand on this one, the leaf minute hand, is diamond cuts, but they've also mirror polished the cap of it, and this cap hides the cannon pinion and it also hides the hole inside the hand itself. And when you tilt the piece at an oblique angle, you can see the mirror polished cap to the cannon pinion or the minute hand catches the light. Same applies to the subdial second hand, it's capped, and just absolutely gorgeous detail. Diamond cuts, leaf hands, mirror polished to perfection. So to put the handset into perspective, we're not looking at mid-tier level finishing to the diamond cut hands here. This is high-tier level leaf hand finishing. This is the kind of leaf hands one would expect to see on a high-tier piece costing €10,000 plus, not mid-tier, which is €500 to €5,000 respectively. Tuseno deserve credit for it. The numerals are vintage fonts, rather like Breguet numerals, and I like the italic Breguet numerals. They're very aesthetically pleasing. Quality of the printing is good. They're sharp and crisp, they're not too thick and blurry, and I like the curvature of the fonts. It's cursive and also it has Breguet style, does give the piece a vintage aesthetic. Around the oval dial, we have a chapter ring, which is a rail track chapter ring. Rail track chapter rings were, of course, popular in the 1960s. That, again, gives this piece a vintage aesthetic. So I like the textured finish of the centre oval in orange, rather like an orange skin. And then we have a gradient oval around the circumference of the dial, graduating from orange to a darker orange to red. Very aesthetically pleasing. I like the different colour tones of the orange subdial, and on the left hand side we've got orange, and then on the right hand side we've got a darker orange to red, which matches the centre oval. Very aesthetically pleasing. I like the fonts used for Tuseno, and also like the fonts used for Supervintage, which is like 1960s font. And then beneath these 6 Arabic numeral we have Swiss made. Now, to clarify, Tuseno were founded in 2015 and they're based in Gothenburg, Sweden, but this piece is Swiss made by their partner, and they're right to be proud of that, and they've printed Swiss made on the dial beneath a 6 Arabic numeral. And of course this is a Swiss made piece, and it uses a Swiss made caliber, the ETA caliber 7001 manual wind, and it's a top grade version of it. So excellent to see Swiss made piece, excellent to see Swiss made caliber from a Swedish microbrand. Case is solid 3160 grade stainless steel, and it is a tonneau case, mirror polished on the top edge and also on the flanks. Flanks are convex, rather being flat slab-sided flanks, and as I've detailed, we've got undercuts to the tonneau case, so the lug-to-lug is shorter. The curved spring bars sit closer to the undercuts in the case, but the length of the case is longer than the 33.6 lug-to-lug. As I've detailed, the case is 40.5. So nice tonneau shape to it. I like the curvature of the curved crystal, curved on the underside, curved on the top side. The benefit of the tonneau crystal being curved on the underside versus flat is, unlike a single domed crystal, one doesn't get a magnification and distortion effect. When one tilts the piece at an oblique angle, it doesn't have the magnification of a flat crystal on the underside because it's curved. And you can see clarity is actually excellent. Often with tonneau crystals or curved crystals, which are curved on the underside, curved on the top side like this, in an oval shape, they are highly reflective, rather like a mirror, but this one actually works very well because when you look at the piece straight on, the curved sapphire crystal looks invisible. So the clarity of the crystal is excellent. The clarity of the anti-reflective coating is excellent. It's very easy to read the dial and the leaf handset. So proportions of the tonneau case are fantastic. Quality of the mirror polishing is excellent on the top of the case, flanks and the undercuts. Right, so let's look at the strap in detail. So as I've detailed, curved end spring bars, that's good because they fit very close to the case. Nice aggressive taper, 18 down to the buckle and tang, so it's a nice slender strap, very soft and supple, and this long strap will fit from a 7 to 8 inch wrist. And I like the curvature of the buckle and tang. Rather than using a rectangular profile or square profile to the buckle, you can see it's got this nice curvature to it, rather like a horseshoe shape, and this is excellent because it matches the oval shape of the tonneau case. So this is very well thought through continuity of design because we've got the oval case, which is tonneau shaped, that complements the oval shape of the leaf hands, and also the buckle and tang matches because it's got the same kind of oval shape to it as per the tonneau case. Let's look at the case back. Exhibition case back. Now they deserve credit here because Tuseno could have cut production costs here by using a pressed on solid stainless steel case back, but they've taken a more expensive option of a sapphire crystal glazed pressed on exhibition case back. Now the benefit of using a pressed on case back here versus a screw down case back or a screwed down case back with 4 flathead screws is they've been able to reduce the thickness, and of course this is a manual wind caliber, the ETA caliber 7001, therefore it's a very thin caliber. Now this is the one thing I like about it above all else. The caliber used in this piece is ultra slim. It is only 2.5 millimeters thick. Just think about that for a moment. 2.5 millimeters is incredibly thin. It's an ultra slim caliber, and the benefit of that is they've been able to slim this piece down to only 8.7 millimeters. 8.7 is the kind of thickness one would expect with a quartz powered piece, but this is mechanical, and one would expect a mechanical piece to be 10 millimeters, for example. This is only 8.7. It's incredibly thin. Even though it has a curved tonneau case, even though it has a curved crystal in it, and an exhibition case back, which adds thickness, it's still only 8.7. The benefit of this being manual wind versus automatic is there is no rotor. Therefore, the sapphire crystal glazing does not need to provide additional clearance between the underside of the sapphire crystal glazing and the main plate of the movement. There is no rotor to give clearance to. So 2.5 millimeters, very thin, ultra slim caliber. The sapphire crystal glazing therefore can sit very close to the gears and it's almost touching. The tolerances are fantastic, and it looks, when you look at it straight on, the sapphire crystal actually looks invisible. So it does a good job of displaying the calibre, which is a top grade 7001, and we have Cotes de Genève milled stripes or Geneva stripes and blued screws for decoration, because we're not looking at a standard grade or a Labouré grade. This is top grade. Absolutely stellar finishing to it. And I like the large diameter of the sapphire crystal glazing because it displays the beauty of the ETA calibre 7001 top grade to its full effect. Gorgeous movement. So very low profile. The benefit of it is, look how flat it is. This is one of the thinnest exhibition casebacks I've ever seen. I've reviewed over 500 pieces on my channel, from low tier to mid tier to high tier. A plethora of watches with exhibition casebacks, screw down exhibition casebacks, pressed on exhibition casebacks and screwed down exhibition casebacks. This is one of the thinnest of them all. Very flat. It's rather like a solid stainless steel caseback. That's how thin it is. Just look how thin the sapphire crystal glazing is. Look how thin the stainless steel portion of it is. It's just fantastic. They've made the correct decision by making it pressed on with 30 metres versus 50 metres or 100, because they've been able to reduce the thickness of the stainless steel portion and the thickness of the sapphire crystal glazing. One detail I like is the engraving, the fonts used. They've used the same vintage fonts for the specification engraved around the circumference and the serial number as used on the dial for the Tuseno logo and Super Vintage. It has that 1960s vintage font which complements the italic Breguet style numerals. So excellent attention to detail. Quality of the mirror polishing to the exhibition caseback is fantastic. No sharp edges to it, and the engraving is high definition and crisp. The font is clearly legible, but it doesn't feel sharp or rough. Now if you look at the tolerances, that's what I like about this piece. Curved end to the leather strap and also curved spring bars. Just look how close the end of the strap fits to the internals of the lugs, but also the exhibition caseback. There is no gap whatsoever. The tolerances of this piece are fantastic. This is like a high tier level piece. This is not mid-tier 500 to 5,000 euro tolerances. We're looking at high tier 10,000 plus euro level. That's the benefit of this being Swiss made. You can see the attention to detail is just fantastic. Curvature of the spring bars, curvature of the lugs perfectly matches the curvature of the internals of the lugs on the tonneau case and the curvature of the exhibition case back. Just fantastic. So let's look at the crown in detail. Push-pull crown provides an effective hermetic seal to 30 metres. Now, normally for a daily wear or dress piece, one would be critical of 30 metres because it's weak specification. However, one has to appreciate we're not looking at a dive piece here. This does not need 50 metres or 100 metres. A push-pull crown is perfectly acceptable. It's actually beneficial to have a push-pull crown versus a screw-down crown with this piece because it's not an automatic. Therefore, you're going to need to manually wind it regularly. And of course, the benefits of having a push-pull crown is in the closed position, you can manually wind it to its maximum 45-hour power reserve. You don't need to unscrew the crown and then manually wind it. So that's good. It's less laborious, it's less time consuming. 45 hours is perfectly acceptable for a manual wind calibre, and I like that you don't have to unscrew it. You simply wind it in the closed position. So knurled crown, solid 316L grade stainless steel, and it is embossed rather than debossed or engraved with the guiding light emblem. I want to give due credit to Tuseno here because the definition, just bear with me, I'll get the camera to focus on it. The definition of the guiding light star emblem is some of the best I've seen. Again, this is not a mid-tier crown execution, 500 to 5,000 euro. This is high-tier level. The definition of the guiding light embossed emblem, the definition of the knurling, this is high-tier level. This is a high-tier level crown on a mid-tier level price point piece. Proportion is good. It's not too large as per a dive watch crown fitted to a dress piece or a daily wear piece. Yes, it does project from the right hand flank of the tonneau case, but that's beneficial because one can easily get good purchase with one's index finger and thumb. It is large enough to be grippy and tactile, but it's not oversized. The benefit is when you flex the wrist, it doesn't dig into the back of the hand, so it is slender and low profile, but I like the curvature of the knurling because it makes it very grippy and also very aesthetically pleasing. So let's test manually winding it. It feels silky smooth. One can feel the tension in the mainspring gradually building up to its maximum 45 hours. So to clarify, It doesn't need 45 clockwise turns when the mainspring's fully exhausted and the calibre is stopped. 40 clockwise turns will suffice, and that will manually wind it to its maximum 45-hour power reserve. One can feel the tension gradually building up. It feels very smooth, very refined. That's the benefit of this being a top grade ETA 7001. We're not looking at the standard or elaborate grade. This is top grade, the very best of ETA. One can feel the refinement. If I had to choose one word to describe this calibre, it would be refinement. It's just silky smooth. Feels very smooth. No friction to the rubber O-ring gaskets inside the crown and the crown tube, and no friction to the calibre whatsoever. One can feel the meshing of the gearing is precise, refined, reliable, and this calibre has been in production since 1971. So incredibly long production run. Its reliability is proven beyond question. So, putting it out to the first click position is the final click because there's no date complication, therefore no phantom date setting position. That's the benefit. So, we're now in the time setting position. There is one negative subjectively I want you to be aware of. If you look at the sub-dial second hand, you can see it continues to sweep around the dial at the 3 Hz sweep. That's the one negative, and I'm being highly critical here. I'm trying to find negatives. I'm trying to subjectively find faults with it. The lack of hacking is the one, because if you like to set the time precisely to the second, you cannot do it with this piece because the sub-dial second hand continues to sweep at 3 Hz, regardless of whether you're in the time setting position or the movement is running. You cannot hack the 7001. That's just a characteristic of the calibre you have to live with. But I appreciate for the majority of collectors, they're not going to consider that to be detrimental, the lack of hacking. I personally prefer hacking. I like to set the time precisely to the second. But we're now in the time setting position. Silky smooth. This feels very refined. In terms of smoothness, this is a level above the SW200-1, a level above the P024, a level above the ETA 2824-2 in smoothness. It feels smoother than a 9015 and 9039. Silky smooth. No friction whatsoever. From mechanical movements, it actually feels like a quartz in terms of smoothness because it's got a very light resistance to the gearing. The gears mesh perfectly. And you can really feel the refinement, the tolerances of this top grade 7001. Just feels fantastically smooth, sublime. Minimal friction to it. Both clockwise and anti-clockwise it feels the same. Doesn't get heavier or lighter when you cycle through the 12 hours. Doesn't feel rough or gritty like a PT5000. Doesn't feel too stiff. Feels much lighter than a 9015 or an SW200-1. I like the light feeling of it. And it just feels so smooth. It's fantastic. In terms of smoothness, it feels like a chronology movement such as the Rolex Calibre 3235 used on my Starbucks. That's the level of refinement. That's the level of smoothness we're looking at with this ETA 7001. It's fantastic. Really smooth. Minimal backplay. That's the other thing I like about it because when one rotates the knurled crown, one doesn't need to take up a lot of slack. So when you rotate the crown clockwise and anti-clockwise, there's an almost immediate response to the leaf minute hand. So unlike a SW200-1 or a 9015, you don't need to take up a lot of slack. It feels very tight. Minimal backplay. It's just so refined. Pushing it back in, it's got a nice positive click, and that reinstates the 30 metres of hermetic seal, which, as I've detailed, is perfectly acceptable for a daily wear or dress piece. So the movement is incredibly refined. It is incredibly reliable because it's been in production since 1971. Very long production run. Build quality, quality control, materials and finishing are stellar. It's one of the greatest ETA calibers. The ETA 7001 since 1971, the top grade version of it, we're looking at this piece, is the correct choice because it is ultra slim. It's only 2.5 millimeters. So it feels good to manually wind. Lack of hacking is the only negative, but I like the accuracy, I like the reliability of it, and 45 hours is perfectly acceptable for a mechanical manual wind caliber. Right, so I'll give you a wrist shots and you can see how it fits on my 8-inch wrist. So just bear with me, I'll remove my Concord 40. So as I've detailed, standard strap fits 6 to 7-inch wrists. Long strap fits 7 to 9-inch wrists. So this is a long strap, and you'll see, I'm pleased to report, it easily fits my 8-inch wrist. Look at the length there. This will easily fit up to even a 9-inch wrist size. And Tuseno deserve credit here because they have catered for all collectors. Yes, it's a given. This has a slender oval tonneau case. It's 34.5 by 40.5. So clearly it's best suited to collectors with a smaller 6 to 7-inch wrist. That's a given. But they also appreciate some collectors like the dress watch aesthetic of a vintage looking piece, hence the name Super Vintage. And they've also offered a long strap because they understand some collectors have an 8-inch plus wrist size and they would like to wear a vintage looking proportion piece. So standard 6 to 7, this one fits 7 to 9 inches, and as you can see I can easily engage the end of the strap in both of the keepers, and I do have enough length left over. This will fit up to a 9-inch wrist size. Plenty of holes in it, 7 to 9, alternatively 6 to 7. Now, in terms of comfort level and feel good factor, this is stellar. Make no mistake about it. This is one of the most comfortable watches I've worn. I've reviewed over 500 pieces, low tier, mid tier, high tier pieces, and I can tell you this is one of the most comfortable, if not the most comfortable watch I've experienced. The curvature of this tonneau case curves around the wrist and it makes it feel like it's invisible. It does not sit on top of the wrist like a thick slab of 316L grade stainless steel. Often the problem with tonneau cases is they're like a thick slab of 316L grade stainless steel, rather like a Vostok Amphibia 090 tonneau case. But this has beautiful curvature to it. Both the sapphire crystal glazed exhibition caseback, it's very flat, so you can see. The benefit is the undercuts to the flanks have beautiful curvature. The top of the curved sapphire crystal, which is a tonneau crystal, also has beautiful curvature, which matches the oval case. It's very slender. 8.7 millimeters. Just think about that for a moment. 8.7 is the kind of low profile proportion one would expect with a quartz powered piece, and it's one of the thinnest mechanical manual wind pieces I've reviewed on my channel. Very low profile, 8.7, not even 10 millimeters thick. The other thing I like about it is the proportions. It surprisingly does have wrist presence. Now, yes, it's very small diameter. It's only 34.5. I'd prefer if it were larger, for example 36, but one has to appreciate this has vintage proportions. 34.5 was a vintage size used in the 1960s for dress pieces, for example. What I like about it is the case length looks long enough. 40.5, it gives a nice oval shape to it, and again, gives it a vintage aesthetic, rather like a 1960s vintage piece. The curvature of the tonneau crystal is fantastic. AR coating works well. I really like the shape of the diamond cut leaf hands and the mirror polishing. Also, the attention to detail with the capped cannon pinion and the capped subdial pinion, as you can see, because the capped hands catch the light. The gradient dial is fantastic, orange to darker orange to red, and the centre section, which is textured rather like an orange skin, is just absolutely gorgeous. This is a fantastic piece. Comfort level and feel good factor is stellar. Now, in terms of lack of heft, the thing that surprises me above all else about this piece is how light it is. This is only 41 grams. Just think about that for a moment, not even 50 grams. I would expect this to be circa 60, 65 grams in the proportions, with a mechanical manual wind movement on a leather strap. But it's not, it's only 41. That's the kind of lack of heft one gets with a Casio digital watch. So I'll tell you how it feels. It feels like wearing a Casio F91W digital watch. That's the kind of lack of heft 41 grams gives. The benefit of it is it feels weightless. This watch feels invisible on wrist. If you like a dress piece or a daily wear piece that feels invisible, this is it. Because the curvature is fantastic. The lack of thickness is fantastic, 8.7, and of course 80mm is very slender. It's elegant, it looks like a dress piece. Potentially it could be worn as a daily wear piece, but I think really the intended purpose of this super vintage is like a vintage 1960s dress piece, because mirror polished tonneau case, curvature to the sapphire crystal, leaf hands which are mirror polished, and the vintage font, which is like Breguet numerals. It just says to me vintage 1960s dress piece. But you can see very low profile, curvature is fantastic, 41 grams, it feels weightless. This is just like wearing a Casio F91W in terms of lack of heft. 41 is one of the lightest mechanical manual wind pieces I've reviewed. The only thing I'd like to change about it is the diameter. I think if this were 36 diameter, it would give more wrist presence and it would be more satisfying for 6 to 7 inch and also 7 to 8 inch plus wrist sizes. 34.5 just looks slightly too slender, so I think 36 would be better, but this is subjective. Collectors with a smaller wrist will of course appreciate 34.5. Does have enough wrist presence for a smaller wrist, but for a larger 7 to 8 I prefer a larger version in 36 diameter. But the length of the case is correct. Even for a large 7 to 8 inch wrist, 40.5 does give enough wrist presence. So length is good. I would just prefer the diameter to be increased from 34.5 up to 36, so only 1.5, but that would just give it more wrist presence with the diameter, but very beautiful case shape. Really does look like a 1960s dress piece. So 41 grams, comfort level and feel good factor are excellent. This strap is the most soft and supple I've ever experienced. More soft and supple than a Hall Windshell Cordvan strap, more soft and supple than a Hirsch calf leather strap. It's just so soft and supple. It feels like a very well broken in strap that's been worn for years. That's how soft and supple it is. The leather is just incredibly soft. And I really like the taper because it is aggressive, 18 down to the buckle and tang, nice and slender, elegant looking, and it does complement the proportions of the tonneau case. Just gorgeous looking piece. And the gradient dial adds interest, and also the textured finish to the centre, which is like an orange skin, also adds interest. It's just a very cool looking piece. So I'm very impressed with the comfort level, and I'm also very impressed with the lack of thickness, and that's really the benefits of using the ETA caliber 7001, which is ultra slim at only 2.5 millimeters. This piece is only 8.7 as a result. They fully maximised and benefited from it because they've used 30 metres. Now, had they used 50 or 100 metres, of course, the sapphire crystal would have to be thicker, and the sapphire crystal glazing, the exhibition caseback, would have to be thicker, and this piece would be 10 millimetres, for example. 8.7 is good. That's the benefit of a thin sapphire crystal in the front and a thin sapphire crystal in the back, reducing it to 30 metres. Correct choice has been made. Now, there's no loom on the dial and hands, so therefore we don't need to do a loom test, so I'll move on to discussing the movement, which is my favourite aspect of the piece. So, this is powered by the ETA caliber 7001 manual wind. It's the top grade version, the very best of ETA. It's been in production since 1971, so an incredibly long production run, one of the very best ETA calibers in terms of reliability. It has 17 joules, it runs at 21,600 vibrations per hour and a frequency of 3 Hz. Has hand winding, because of course it's mechanical manual wind, not an automatic with a rotor. The negative is subjectively, it does not hack. 45-hour power reserve is perfectly acceptable. Now, above all else, what I like about it is it's ultra slim, only 2.5 millimeters, one of the thinnest ETA calibers ever made. It's technically excellent. Stated accuracy is plus or minus 7 seconds per day. Now, to clarify, this is the top grade, so although the stated accuracy is plus or minus 7, that is for standard or elaborate grade, it's very easy to regulate the top grade to better than the stated plus or minus 7. In 5 positions, this can be regulated to chronometer limits easily of -4 to +6. I can confirm this one is running consistently at plus 2 seconds per day when fully wound to its maximum 45-hour power reserve. +2 is in chronometer grade accuracy of -4 to +6, and it is stellar. No negatives to it whatsoever. Reliability is proven beyond question since 1971. Accuracy is good. Build quality, quality control, materials and finishing are stellar. It's decorated because we're looking at the top grade versus a standard grade, and as you can see, on the main plates we have Coats de Genève or Geneva stripes. We've also got blued screws, and these are proper heat-treated blued screws. They're not painted blue, they're not anodized blue, these are blued with heat, and this is fantastic. Just look at the Coats de Genève finishing to the main plates, the quality of the finishing to the gears, the quality of the finishing to the blued screws. Just fantastic. The very best of ETA, top grade. And what I like about it is Tuseno deserve credit here because they could have used the less expensive option of using a standard grade or an elaborate grade, but they've chosen top grade, the very best of ETA. So no cost-cutting measures whatsoever here. A top grade ETA 7001 is highly respected because it is ultra slim at 2.5. It's one of the greatest ETA calibers ever made since 1971. 2 seconds per day accuracy, 45 hours. Smooth to manually wind. It works fantastically. The only thing I dislike about it, and I'm being subjectively critical here, is the lack of hacking, but that's my personal preference. And as I've detailed, really, for the majority of collectors, the lack of hacking is not detrimental for a manual wind piece, which is a dress piece. So, I like everything about it, and correct choice at this price point to use an ETA top grade 7001. So last I'll summarise the piece. What do I think of it overall? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch on my channel, the watch meets 2 criteria. It should be both excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price point. So mid-tier piece, mid-tier is 500 to 5,000 euro. This is 1,099 euro respectively. Yes, I'm going to declare it excellent quality, and yes, I'm going to declare it excellent value at 1,099 euro. The movement alone fully justifies the price point of this piece. ETA 7001 top grade. This is the correct choice at this price point for a mechanical manual wine movement. The benefit is it's 2.5, and of course the benefit is this piece is very thin as a result. 8.7 millimeters and only 41 grams. Excellent quality, excellent value. No QC issues whatsoever. Quality of the finishing, dial execution is high tier level. This is not mid-tier level finishing. This is not mid-tier level dial execution. The diamond cuts leaf hands are some of the best I've seen. They are 10,000 plus euro level. This is high tier level leaf hand finishing, not mid-tier 500 to 5,000 euro. I actually think Tuseno have undervalued this piece at 1,099 euro. If this piece were 2,000 euro, I would still declare it excellent quality and excellent value. But what one is getting here is high tier level quality, build quality, quality control, materials finishing and movement at a mid-tier price point of 1,099. The value proposition of this piece is fantastic. Swiss-made piece with a quality Swiss-made caliber. 1,099. I think this is an exceptional value, and therefore I'm going to declare it a champagne watch for lemonade money. I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Tuseno Supervintage Negroni. Please feel free to post your own comments below the video. Thank you for watching.